All right, so this is you are midway through your tour of Thrash of the Titans.
Okay.
And how's it going so far?
Oh, it's good. I mean, I think, the modern day more is more. What I mean by that is that the package is what it kind of dictates the rule of law with regard to touring these days. Mm-hmm. And Destruction doesn't tour here much. A German band is opening this for us, but they've been around as long as us. Testament was with us on Megaforce back in, they started I think a year or two after us.
Right.
Gained some great success. So the three-pronged attack here has been filling rooms. Mm-hmm. I mean, even last night was oversold in Jersey.
I believe it.
And that's one of our strongholds. That's why we were on this thing for them. Worcester was sold out. Milwaukee, Minneapolis, and
this is amazing. Yeah.
So I mean, it's I expect tonight in PA I expect the same thing.
Yeah.
So the tour's going good, but I think it was it's based on planning and understanding the market in the current day.
Yes. So I've had a chance to over the years, hear interviews and stuff. This is kind of more of a personal question, but I know that you're a Chevelle enthusiast and you own one.
Yes.
What year is your Chevelle?
I have a 67.
67, nice.
Yeah.
We had 3 in our family, 69, 71, and a 66.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So, both dads.
Mine's actually a tribute. It used to be a Malibu, but there's a 396 in it. So
oh, gotcha.
And the only thing that gives it away is its transmission.
Yeah.
It's on the tree.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember as a kid, the revving up and the rolling around through town. It was always exciting.
Yeah, kind of like caveman stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. it's exciting going out with Dad to the grocery store. So yeah. All right. I feel like I just flustered myself getting all Chevelle'd up there. Yeah. So. I love the new album. I know it's been out for almost 3 years. What's it called? Close to 3 years?
22, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe late 20. Just when the pandemic broke, and we were able to get over to Europe, on the release. I think we were there a couple of days, and then it released later.
So how many songs off the new album, do you play?
Well, we only have 50 minutes being in the middle. So we play 2. We do Scorched and The Surgeon. And then we kind of pepper it with, some real old school stuff and some of the middle.
Right.
Which is, and I'm saying by the middle, it's like stuff like Ironbound or Bring Me the Night or something like so. But I think it's like a 9-song set, so it seems to rush right by. It's like,
that's
here
great.
Today, gone tomorrow thing.
Yeah. So, all right. So anything exciting happen or weird or odd stage issues or any craziness?
No, I mean, you do this 40 years. I mean, the norm is not chaos, I think probably the only thing that I think everybody wants to present themselves at a higher level. I think one of the things that's kept Overkill around for this long is that we're not afraid to spend money on lights and production. We're that old school thing. We're not just in-ears guys. We want to show Marshall stacks, and we come from that era. So I think that when you're trying to get 3 bands who have that kind of a mentality up there, it doesn't work sometimes. That's the only thing. So you have to compromise. Right. And Testament is actually not using a back line, but they're using a ton of lights, so they're still taking up stage room with that.
Right.
But making it as good as possible for the rest of the bands. Even tonight we'll share drums with Destruction because this stage is just not that big.
Right.
So, but if you're on a theater stage, you can get all 3 up there, risers, etc., etc.
Okay. I just read Carl Kennedy's autobiography.
Let's thank him for setting us up
yes,
for this interview.
Thank you so much, Carl. So in that, it just sounded like you guys, he felt like you guys were already a well-oiled machine by the time he got to you. Or you got to him, however that process worked. And that you guys really didn't need much direction. You already had everything kind of going the way you needed it to be. So he felt like, why mess with something that's already pretty perfect as is? He didn't feel like he had to bring a lot to the table. I don't know, do you remember a lot about that process and that kind of being the case and just, having a good collaboration without a lot of, I guess, extra stuff,
Yeah, I mean, of course I remember. It's our Virgin Voyage. It's, this is our studio cherry, for like the real fucking deal. But I think he was right. And I think that was probably a smart take on it because we were very organized. I think that was probably the way to put it. We were organized right down in promotion. We were self-promoters. We made our own t-shirts. We ordered stickers by the gross and put them all over the place. We produced our own music. We had it pressed. We sold that music in brick and mortar shops. We had a following where we could almost sell out the biggest clubs that the metal scene had at that time. And we had been writing and rehearsing daily. Rehearsal for us at that time was more of a religion. It was like, it wasn't like, yeah, maybe, if I'm not doing something. It was like, no, I have rehearsal. I think the people who suffered the most were the girlfriends. Whoever anybody was going with, because we'd be there between like 7 or 8 and midnight every night. Maybe take the weekends off or something. But it was like, it was very regimented. And if we're constantly rehearsing and constantly writing, Carl was getting something. We had paid attention to bands like the Rods and etc. And when Johnny Z signed us and said it's going to be Ithaca, he also really picked the producer for us because Johnny really liked Carl.
Yeah.
And it was for us, we were like, hey, perfect. This is not like anything but an great added bonus from somebody that we respected in the music community. Somebody who we wanted to accept us so we could get to his level. That type of a thing.
Yeah.
So I think he probably has a good take on it. He just put us in a room, told us to rehearse a hell of a lot more. The only thing I could say is that we were kids. We liked, we liked drinking, fighting, and fucking.
Well, when I heard that you liked the Dead Boys, I was like a Dead Boys fan.
We were just. I mean, it's not man-of-war kind of stuff, but we were just coming out of our teens. We were in our early 20s. We were young men who were like, we were testosterone-driven dudes. You know what I mean? And it was that's what that scene was. It was the guy scene. You know what I mean? It was. The joke used to be, what has 2,000 legs and 2 boobs? And we'd say Overkill live in Germany.
Where the sausage are.
But I think that added to it. It was, it wasn't our moniker, but like other young male adults at that era, in that time, who were driven by that music, fan or band.
Right.
And we were fans also. I think that they were the things. It was like, yes. And that all those other things came along with it. And I think that, that was just a driving force that our youth and our energy just carried it over the top.
So I would think if you're from New Jersey, you probably went across the bridge quite a bit and saw bands like, hopefully, maybe you got a chance to even see the Dead Boys, like,
yes,
at like Stevie G's or something.
I went to college in Manhattan College.
Oh, yeah.
So I know Max's. I graduated high school in '77. So like I'm at Carl's age,
Not almost. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not the kid who was 19 when I got signed. I was in college.
Gotcha.
And I did it specifically so I could be around that music scene. So New York Dolls, or Johnny Thunders, and Heartbreakers. Yeah. God, what does Steve Bader say? We don't have so and so, but we're doing the gig anyway because we need the money. It was at the Ritz. So
right.
I mean, there was a great, and it's a great pickup on just us in that era, because one of the things that we were always really proud of was that we always thought that we infused our love of punk rock and that attitude, especially the East Coast punk rock, which was like, it was like pop music on speed, when you listen to the Ramones and even the Dead Boys and stuff.
Yeah.
We infused it with the new wave of British heavy metal, and kind of, it kind of carved a niche for us. I'm sure others have done it.
Yeah.
But I don't hear a lot of East Coast stuff. Maybe Anthrax a little bit. Can get a little punky with, maybe even a little more hardcore with their SOD kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that influence. But we were just kind of like, that poppy pogo kind of punk every now and then would show up. Hello from the Gutter.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. It's got that kind of, you could pogo to the song.
Right.
With a great metal melody. So.
Oh, I noticed, like, you know, you guys, fire has been like a theme throughout, and Feel the Fire with the first album. That was another thing I learned from the book, is that the photo taken for that album cover was done by a friend, I think, of yours.
Friend of Alex Perialis.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, who was the engineer and owned Pyramid Sound.
Now, that fire looked intense, like you guys were literally feeling it, because it looked like it was 4 or 5 times the size of like any bonfire I've ever seen on that album cover. So I just thinking, gosh, it must have felt like you were melting your back.
Well, I recently just told the story. I did an interview with Carl via Zoom with
Maybe
Jack Mangan. And that's the second picture. That's the second night.
Mm-hmm.
The first night we built the haystacks up, doused it with gasoline. We put out plastic and then hit the plastic with water, so there'd be reflection.
Mm-hmm.
We lit the fire and we were too close, and all they ever got was us running away from the. So we decided to go back and try it a second time. And if you look at the picture, you'll see, like, I'm all the way on the right, and if you'll see my arms are like this. It's because I can't bend them. They're covered in duct tape, so I can't feel the fire.
Yeah, literally.
On the back of a naked arm.
Right.
And we all have duct tape on our arms. So, you know, the joke was, maybe we should just keep the first pictures and just call it Run Away, you know.
Run from the fire. But I really appreciate you meeting with me today. It's my 50th birthday.
Oh,
so
congratulations.
thank you.
Happy
I made
birthday.
it to 50. Surprise.